The bipolar junction transistor. In this lecture, I will cover mainly the operations in common emitter and common collector. But first of all, I should conclude the common base operation what I have started in my last lecture. We have seen earlier that a BJT in forward active mode can offer the amplification. But the first question is that what is an amplification and how uh, we attain this amplification using this bipolar junction transistor. That means basically we will see here that the amplification is nothing but a harmony maintained between the input characteristics and the output characteristics. And that the thing I should answer, or we should answer when we are dealing with the bipolar junction transistor, the how transistors amplify. That is the topic I'm going to cover in this lecture first. Next one is the input and output characteristics for the common emitter configuration. It is like that one, for the common base whatever I have discussed in my last lecture, the similar configuration I should discuss in this lecture also, because the common emitter is a widely used configuration for the bipolar junction transistor. So that is why I will discuss these things next. And the last one is the common collector configuration. How does a BJT amplify? To answer that question, we first have to understand the input characteristics, significance of the input characteristics, and the significance of the output characteristics. In my last lecture, I have discussed lots of things regarding the input and output characteristics, but here I will start with the input characteristics first. The input characteristics means the plot of emitter to base voltage with respect to the emitter current, i.e. Now we have that kind of plot. But since right now in this circuit, this R3 resistance and this R1 resistance is associating the emitter side and the base side, emitter terminal and the base terminal, so a load line must appear on the input characteristics. And the analysis of the load line is almost equal to the similar one, the one that I have discussed for the PN junction diode case. So we will do that kind of analysis to find the load line, because the load line defines the Q point, it defines the circuit current within this, and it defines the voltage drop across the emitter to base voltage, because our input characteristics is defined with the plot of the emitter current and the emitter to base voltage. So let's see how the load line is appearing due to the presence of this resistance R3 and R1. First, apply the KVL loop around the base emitter junction. So I have maintained the direction of the current which maintains, or which is parallel to the direction of the base current and IE current as shown over here. So first of all, the general consideration is that the terminal through which current enters, that is considered positive, and through which it leaves is considered the negative. So therefore this terminal I am going to consider positive and this is negative. So first, minus IB times this R1, the thing I have included over here. And next, the base emitter voltage, because the base terminal is at higher potential and the emitter terminal is at lower potential, so this one will be positive and this one will be negative. So the minus base VEB, which represents the base to emitter voltage, minus VEB should appear over here. But look at here, since the emitter to base voltage is considered as the input voltage for the common base configuration, that is why I have to include emitter to base voltage instead of the base to emitter voltage. But emitter to base voltage is nothing but the base to emitter voltage preceding by a negative sign. So that is why the negative sign preceding to the VB is replaced by the plus VEB over here. And next one is the IE times R3, and after that there is the external voltage source, and at this branch I am moving from negative side to positive side, so that is why V1 I have included over here. This equation is the universal equation relating the emitter current, collector current and base current, and this equation relates the output current IC with the input current IE. where this ICEO is very small, and you may neglect this thing. Well, see, I will discuss later about this. Now, since I am interested to find the relation in IE and VB, because in the input characteristics we have two variables IE and VB, or VEB rather. Therefore, I have to remove this, or I have to replace this IC current from these two equations. So just replacing IC from the second equation in the first, and that will result this current. So here ICEO, as I was telling, that you can neglect this current because the order of the ICEO is very small, is of the order of microampere, because the ICO is due to the minority carriers resulted in the reverse bias region for the uh, collector to base junction. So we, in comparison with the emitter current, which is of the order of milliampere, ICEO can be neglected. So once you neglect this ICEO, this equation gets resulted. So IE is equals to IB divided by 1 minus this alpha factor. Now from here you can see that as the alpha goes close to unity, the IE goes high. So right now we have these two equations. Now in these two equations, other than this IE, IB and VEB, all other terms are external to the system. So therefore, since I am investigating the input characteristics for the load line, I should replace all other variable, or all other input variables other than the IE or VEB. So it is uh, easily possible to replace this IB from this equation, because I have obtained this equation and replace this IB from this equation, and after a little rearrangement I should get this equation in this way. Now look at here. This is the VEB and this is IE, and here is the external voltage source. Same like the diode equation what you have seen in my previous lecture. Now if you divide this equation by this minus V1, so this equation will be resulted, where for the input characteristics this is the x-axis and this IE is the y-axis, and the x-axis, so that means this equation represents a straight line, and that thing we know that is the equation for the load line also. So that straight line intersects the emitter base axis at the minus V1, because the emitter base is on the negative axis. We have seen in my earlier lecture. So it intersects, the straight line intersects the emitter to base axis at minus V1, while it intersects the IE current axis at this value. Now a clear observation on this particular value shows that if alpha goes close to unity, so the effect of R1 gets cancelled, because for the ideal case, say for example, if alpha is equals to 1, so that part goes to 0. Only V1 divided by R3 should appear in this expression. So mainly the load line is defined by this R3 as the alpha has a value close to the unity. However, but here I have used this 100K. So if alpha is 0.98 even, so this factor goes to 2000. So here is 1K, 1000, there is a 2000. So this value may not be neglected in comparison with this one, because the alpha, although alpha is very close to unity, because 0.98 is very close to unity, but since this resistance, value of this resistance is so high, higher than this R3, that value may not be neglected. But there may you found some situations where that value can also be neglected. So this is the load line, equation of the load line. Now let's consider the output characteristics, and here also similar to the previous slide, I'm going to investigate the presence of the load line due to the presence of this R2 and this R1. Now in the output characteristics, what I have discussed in my earlier lecture or last lecture, that is the output characteristics of BJT in common base configuration is a function, or basically is a plot of the output current with respect to the output voltage, and output current is the IC current and the output voltage is the collector to base voltage. So I must have obtained that equation of which include these two equation or these two parameters. So let's apply the KVL as I have done in the previous case. And here I have considered the direction of the current is flowing along this, which is parallel to the IC current but opposite to the base current. So first equation, in this equation I am moving from the negative terminal to the positive terminal at this branch. So as I am moving from the lower potential to higher potential, I have included this V2 with a positive sign preceding to this V2. However, you may consider the opposite one, that you may consider that a negative sign when you are moving from lower to higher. So that is all regarding the convention. So if you if your convention is that when you are moving from the negative to positive terminal, you are going to consider a negative sign preceding to that particular uh, component of the branch. So you have to follow that convention for the entire calculations. Then the same equation you will get what I am going to get. Next, at this branch, the voltage or the potential at this branch is IC times this R2, but with a convention that this one is positive and this terminal is negative, because IC enters through this terminal and IC leaves through this terminal. So therefore I am moving from the higher potential to lower potential, and according to my convention that I should include a negative sign before that. Next is the VCB, collector to base voltage, which is appearing across this. Collector is always be at higher potential in comparison with the base, we have seen earlier, because when I am using an NPN transistor, this collector to base junction should be in reverse bias in forward active mode, and in order to keep it in reverse bias, the collector must be at higher potential with respect to the base. Therefore at this branch also I am moving from higher potential to the lower potential, and that is why I have to include the negative sign before this VCB. But at this branch, as I have shown, the IB current enters into the resistance through this terminal and it leaves through this terminal. So this one is positive, this one is negative. So when I am moving according to my convention or the direction as I have shown over here, I am moving just opposite to the direction of IB. So I am moving from the lower potential to the higher potential. So therefore the positive sign I have considered before this IB times R1, which is the voltage at this branch. Next is that these two equations, the first one is the universal equation, holds for all type of bipolar junction transistor, that is both the NPN and PNP. And this one I have obtained in my last case. This relates the output current with respect to the input current. Now in this case, since I am interested on this output current and output voltage, so there is no need to use this input current. So you can replace this input current by replacing this I from here over here, and after a little rearrangement this equation will be resulted, where you can again neglect this ICO, which is due to the reverse saturation current or the minority carrier current in comparison with this IC. This ICO is very small. It is of the order of microampere, while IC and IE is of the order of milliampere. So after neglecting this and after a little rearrangement, IC and IB will be resulted through this equation. So finally the equation that I have, that is this one, and next is this one relating the IC and IB. And to the purpose to find this equation is that in this equation the variables are IC, VCB and IB. But since I am going to construct the equation which includes only the output current and output voltage, which is nothing but IC and VCB respectively, therefore I need an equation which can replace this IB current, which is unwanted over here. So that this relation may replace, or I can replace this IB current from this relation, and I did that. So after a rearrangement from this equation, this will be resulted. and the rearrangement I have done in a similar case. What I have done while I was analyzing this base emitter loop, here also I did that. Now this is the equation of the load line. Here the load line intersects with the VCV axis at V2, while it intersects the IC axis at these values. And a close investigation with this intersection point with the current axis tells that if alpha is very close to the unity, then this effect also goes to cancels. But however, since R1 is 100K and R2 is only 1K, I have assumed. So this value, what I have assumed, a typical value of alpha, what I have assumed, that is the 0.98, may not cancels the effect of this factor in a significant way. Therefore, we may have to include all of them or both of them. Here is a simple animation I have presented to make you understand the harmony which is being maintained between the input characteristics and output characteristics along with their load lines, respective load lines, to achieve the amplification. Let's see how the amplification is obtained. The input signal is like this. So the input signal appears across the input load line. So therefore, due to the presence of the two extreme points on the inputs of the input signal, so there should be two extreme load lines. So for this minimum value of the input signal, there will be the lower extreme load line which intersects the input characteristics at this point. Although I didn't include the load line physically because the intersection point of the load line on the voltage axis of the on the VEB axis will be large enough to interfere with the output characteristics. So therefore, I have avoided to draw the load line physically. But however, from this intersection point, you can easily understand where the load line goes to intersect. First one is the negative extreme of the input signal. So that means this should be the one extreme load line which will intersect the input characteristics. And the second one is that for the positive extreme of the input signal. So another load line will intersect at this point because as the input signal is oscillating, so these intersecting points are oscillating both in the current axis and voltage axis. Already I have explained in my last lecture regarding the VI characteristics of the diode. The similar concept can also be applicable over here also. Now, when the input signal goes to 0, that means at 0, pi, 2 pi phases. So here, all such points. So at that points, the load line is going to be defined due to the presence of external DC source. That is why this line or I would refer to the due to the external or DC load line, and the intersection of the DC load line with the input characteristics I would like to refer the DCQ point, and all other points are due to the sinusoidal signal. So therefore, since the sinusoidal signal is oscillating around this DC load line, the Q point also will oscillate around the DCQ point. All the Q points will be around the DCQ point. Similarly, the DCQ point will define the emitter current or the input current IEQ. The IEQ stands for the emitter current at the DCQ point. Similarly, the emitter to base voltage at the Q point I have denoted by VEBQ, which refers the emitter to base voltage at the DCQ point. Other than the DCQ point, so there exist all variations of on the emitter to base axis. Similarly, in the current axis, the emitter current axis, there will be lots of variations depending upon this Q. Within this extreme range, there will be a variation in the collector current. Now, come on the output characteristic side. As we know, IC is equals to alpha times IE. For the time being, consider alpha is equals to 1. However, alpha has a typical value of 0.98, but for the time being, I am considering that both of them is exactly equals to 1 because I am considering the ideal case alpha equals to 1. So if IC goes to equals to IE, that means this point on the input characteristics, the current on the input characteristics has a direct reference on the current axis on the output characteristics over here. And the load line which exists on the output characteristics should intersect that reference point, or if you draw a reference line from the input characteristics, so that load line should intersect over here. Along with that, the family of curves what exists on the output characteristics, that also will intersect at that point. Now, the most interesting thing, on the input side, due to the variation of the sinusoidal input, the load line varies because the intersection point on the voltage axis as well as the current axis varies. So, the load line varies due to the variation of the input signal. As a result, the Q point also varies around the DC Q point. As a result, the IE or emitter current also varies around the IEQ or the DC emitter current. And in my last lecture, I have explained the origin of this family of curves on the output characteristics. That is, each individual curve was due to each individual value of the IE current. So right now, as IE is varying around the IEQ or DCQ point current, so does the family of curve also will vary like this. So on the input side, load line is varying, but on the output side, load line is not varying, it is fixed, but the characteristics are varying. The family of curves are varying on this side. And corresponding to the positive extreme load line caused by the positive extreme value of the input signal, there will be a corresponding value on the output characteristics which will intersect the output load line. If you draw a parallel line from this current axis, so it will intersect at this point. Similarly, with reference to the negative extreme point of the input signal or the negative Q point or negative extreme Q point on the input characteristics, there will be another corresponding point on the output characteristics. So the output characteristics will oscillate within this range. As a result, the intersection between the output characteristics and the load line, which is defined the Q point on the output characteristics. So this is the DC Q point which should appear over here. So that Q point will oscillate around the DC Q point as shown over here. So as shown in the animation over here. Now the variation of this Q point on the output characteristics is going to define the variation of the collector to base voltage, which is the output voltage. The input voltage has a smaller scope to oscillate because the input characteristics is looking like a diode forward bias characteristics. So the nonlinear nature on the input characteristics allows a small variation across the emitter to base voltage, while on the output characteristics, the output voltage has a larger scope to oscillate due to this linear nature of the output characteristics. And here is the amplification. Here we are achieving the amplification. The voltage amplification, obviously, not the current amplification, because this is the collector to base voltage at Q point. Only voltage amplification can be achieved from the common base, but not the current amplification, because output current is defined by the IC and input current is defined by the IE. Now, since the output current is equals to IE, as I have considered it is ideal case, so the current gain, which is output current divided by the input current, cannot be greater than the unity. However, in practical cases, they gain even less than unity because alpha is the forward current gain, which is the ratio of the output current to the input current, that means IC by IE. So that alpha is called the forward current gain in common base configuration, and that has a typical value less than 1. So we cannot have the current gain in common base configuration. However, we must have the voltage gain as shown over here. The voltage gain we are achieving using the common base configuration. And the last thing is that the input voltage and output voltage both are in phase. That means when the input voltage points in increasing, so does the output voltage also. So both the input voltage and output voltage are in phase in case of common base configuration. Next is common emitter. This is the configuration of common emitter, where emitter is now connected with the common reference point. In this case, it is connected with the ground, and all other potentials are being measured with respect to the emitter, both the base. So VB, I have denoted over here that VB means base to emitter voltage. Since emitter voltage is connected with a zero reference, so emitter voltage potential is zero. So that is why VB I have used for that notation. Similarly, collector to emitter voltage, since emitter is at zero reference potential, it is connected with a zero potential. So VCE is basically VC, because VCE means VC minus VE, but VE itself zero. So that is why I have used such notation over here. In this common emitter configuration, the input current is obviously the IB, and input voltage is VB, and you just recall that the input voltage for the common base, that was VEB, but in this case just opposite that one, that is the VBE. So VBE is the input voltage, while the input current is considered as IB. Output current is same as the previous one, that is the IC, and the output voltage is VCE. In the case of common base configuration, we have seen that this relation relates the input current IE with the output current IC. But when we are going to discuss the common emitter configuration, obviously output current is not the input current. The input current is going to be IB. So we must have to establish a relation which relates the input current and output current. So the procedure is simple, just replace the IE current from here and obtain the equation containing only IC and IB. That means this is the output current and this one is the input current. After a little rearrangement, you should get this equation. Now here, I model, or generally this model is used to define this alpha divided by 1 minus alpha in terms of beta. And if you define beta as alpha by 1 minus alpha, then this 1 minus alpha will become automatically 1 plus beta. So, and beta is equals to alpha by 1 minus alpha. So, this is the relation, the key relation for the common emitter, where the output current is related with the input current. And this is the ICEO, this current already you know, that is due to the current in reverse bias region for the active forward active mode, collector to base junction. For the common emitter configuration, I have used this symbol ICO to denote that it is equal to 1 plus beta times this ICEO, while beta is denoted by this alpha by 1 minus alpha. And one thing you can identify from here, that if alpha goes very close to unity, beta goes high. What is beta? Beta is nothing but the forward current gain in common emitter configuration. We will see. And this is another equation which relates the BB input voltage in common emitter with the output current. ICO, which is caused due to this minority carrier current ICEO, and when you multiply this 1 plus beta with the ICO, that results this ICO, and in comparison to this beta times IB, you can also neglect this ICO, because the magnitude of this ICO is generally not comparable with this beta times IB. So therefore we will see, but there are some situations when this ICO also becomes a comparable factor with this beta times IB. We will see later when I will discuss the fixed bias circuit. But for the time being, if everything is normal, then you can easily ignore this ICO, which is very less than the beta times IB. And another thing is that if you differentiate this equation, with respect to VB, so del IC output current, you are differentiating with respect to the input voltage. So that will result is IC divided by VT, and VT is KT by Q is the thermal voltage we know, and the value of this thermal voltage at room temperature is 26 millivolt. This factor del IC del VV is called the transconductance. Transconductance. That means this transconductance defines the sensitivity of the output current when an particular input voltage is applied. So that is defined by the transconductance. Or you can say what is the change in output current take place when there is a change in the input voltage. So that is the transconductance. And here, yes, it is transconductance, and these factors, the IC is equals to beta times IB. This is the relation which relates the input current and output current. And if you take the ratio to the output current to the input current, so that means the beta, which is equals to IC divided by IB, and that defines the forward current gain in common emitter. So forward current gain in common base, that was the alpha, which was very less than 1, and not very less than 1, but approximately close to 1 in general, that is 0.98 I have considered, but 9997 is also possible. But the beta, from this expression you can identify that if alpha goes close to unity, beta goes very higher value. So beta, which is the forward current gain in common emitter configuration, has a value very greater than 1 or unity. So for a common emitter configuration, we are going to get the current amplification, which was absent in case of common base configuration. Now let's see uh, what about the voltage gain in common emitter configuration. So this equation relates the output current and the input current with this amplification factor or forward current gain factor. So the current gain beta, which is greater than 1 for the common emitter. Now let's see what about the voltage gain. To find the voltage gain, apply the KVL around this output loop. This is the output loop, and the KVL will result this equation. You can take any one of them. Now VC plus I have considered over here due to a current IC plus. IC plus means it is an incremental current uh, around the Q point in a positive direction. But an incremental current along the positive direction just above the Q point will result an incremental voltage uh, around the Q point in the negative direction, because as IC will reduce, as IC will increase, that value gets subtracted from here, and the resulting value will be VC, so VC gets decreased. So the incremental current will result in decremental voltage. However, I have denoted by plus sign to signify that this VC plus is associated with the IC plus. Similarly, the next case, if the IC gets reduced or less than, it goes to less than the Q point current, so the incremental current IC current goes in a negative direction, the VC will increase in a positive direction. So I have denoted by this, that one is a VC minus. Now the differential voltage we can calculate by subtracting them like this: VC plus minus VC minus, and the resulting equation will be this, where the del incremental voltage will be related with the incremental collector current or output current. Now from my last slide, we know the output current or the incremental output current is related with the incremental input voltage through this transconductance GM. So it is just very easy to replace this IC current from this equation by this equation. So just replace delta VB times GM in place of IC, delta IC. So this equation will be resulted. Where now this equation relates the output voltage and the input voltage, and we are uh, interested to find the ratio of the output voltage to input voltage, and that defines the voltage gain. And look here, the voltage gain is this equation, and the expression of the voltage gain includes this negative term. That means the voltage gain is out of phase with respect to the input voltage, or rather the output voltage is out of phase with respect to the input voltage, and the magnitude of the voltage gain is greater than 1 because GM generally greater than 1 and R3 is 1 kilo ohm. And from the left hand side also, what is VB? VB is the voltage appearing across the base emitter terminal, which is kept forward bias when you are operating in forward active mode. So if you imagine that this base emitter junction is a kind of forward bias PN junction diode, like a forward bias PN junction diode, then VB is nothing but the forward bias voltage across the diode, and the incremental voltage around the exponential curve around a PN junction diode is very small in range, while delta VC, which is oscillating across the output, has a wider range in variation. So therefore the ratio when you will take, so that ratio is going to offer you very high value, very greater than 1. Therefore, in case of common emitter, we have both the current gain and voltage gain as well. This represents the input characteristics for the common emitter configuration, and that is why I have included the base to emitter voltage as x-axis. But although I have shown over here as the V by VB, which is the base voltage only, because the emitter voltage is connected, or emitter terminal is connected with the ground, which is a zero potential. Y-axis is marked by the microampere order, because the input current is the base current in this case, so that is why it is marked by the microampere order. Now, if we compare both the common base configuration with the common emitter configuration, you can see the nature of the curves are almost similar to each other. The major difference is that in the last case, when VCB was increasing for each and every experiment, the input current, which was the emitter current for common base, was increasing also. But in this case, when VC gets increased, we can see the input current, which is the base current, is decreasing. The reason in both these cases are the early effect or the base width modulation. In the last case, due to the base width modulation, the effective base region gets reduced. As a result, the chances of recombination also gets reduced, and more number of minority carriers coming from the emitter terminal were reaching to the collector, and that was increasing the emitter current and the collector current. But in this case, the terminal is base, input terminal is base itself, which has two major current components. One, due to the majority carriers, which is flowing from the base terminal to the emitter terminal due to the application of the emitter to base forward bias voltage. Another component was due to the recombination. So when the minority carriers gets recombined with the whole, which is the majority carriers, so those holes which are being annihilated within this recombination process, so current from the external voltage source enters in order to mitigate those holes. So that causes another contribution of the base current. But right now, since the chances of the recombination gets reduced, so the less number of holes will now get part will take part in the recombination process. As a result, the less number of currents are required to mitigate that less number of holes, and that causes a less current in the case of common emitter configuration. So that is why base current is decreasing when VC is increasing. This represents the output characteristics for the common emitter configuration. The output voltage, that is the VC, I have placed along the x-axis, and this is the output current, that is the IC. Look, this is the order is milliampere order. Similar to the previous one, that means the common base configuration, where I have obtained each of these curves for each individual value of the input current, that is the IE. In this case also, I have obtained each of these individual curves for a different individual value of the IB, which is the input current also here. One thing you should notice, that in case of common base, the saturation region was within the region less than the VCB. When less than 0, when VCB was less than 0, so that region was considered as a saturation region. But here the saturation region is also greater than equals to the VCE region. As I took such a longer range in VCE, that is up to starting from 0 to 40 volt, so the saturation region is not visible clearly, but the saturation region is generally 0 to 0.7 volt for a silicon transistor and 0 to 0.3 volt for a germanium transistor. Typical values these are. But In case of common base, the saturation region was less than 0 voltage for the common base CB. CB was less than 0, but in the common emitter, that saturation region starts for the collector to emitter voltage greater than or equals to 0. Now, why it is happening? So that thing can easily be understood using this equation. VCE is equals to VCB plus VB. If you replace VCB by VC minus VB plus VB minus VE, so both the plus VB and minus VB gets cancelled from here, and that will result only VCE. So that is why VCE is equals to VCB plus VB. Now, if you compare with respect to the common base configuration, where the saturation region starts for the value of VCB less than or equals to 0. Here, if you put VCB equals to 0 like this, the resulting equation will be this. That means the VCE is equals to VB. Now, what is VB? VB is the base to emitter voltage in common emitter, which you have to keep positive in order to make the base emitter junction forward bias. So that means VCE is still positive while VCB is 0. So as I have plotted VCE over here, so I will see that VCE is uh, at a potential which is greater than 0 while VCB goes to 0. Now if you decrease the VCB much more beyond 0, for example you took a value VCB is equals to minus VB, then only VCE will go to 0, and when VCB is minus VB, you with the value of VCB is equals to 0, you have just at the verge to enter the saturation region, but with VCB is equals to minus V, you have already entered within the saturation region, and you have entered within this region with VCE is equals to 0 region. So VCE can go to 0 for a negative value of VCB. So that is why the saturation region for common emitter starts for the value of VC greater than is equals to 0. And one thing you can see from here, the current gain IV is of the order of microampere, IC is of the order of milliampere. So that is why you have the current gain, and voltage gain I have also explained that we also have the voltage gain for common emitter. Similar to the previous case, that is the common base configuration, here I have presented the amplification of in common emitter using that similar kind of animation. Here all this represents the input voltage which is oscillating like this, and this is the input axis, that is the VB, this is the IB of the order of microampere, and here is the IC. So there is a clear indication that output current gets amplified due to this IC. Now the output voltage is also being amplified, and the explanation is same as I have explained for the common base also, because the output is oscillating within a wide range while the input is oscillating within this small range. But one thing you should notice that in this case output and input voltage are out of phase, because when output voltage is increasing it is decreasing, when it is decreasing input voltage is increasing. So this output and input voltage are out of phase. So in case of common emitter configuration, we can have both the voltage gain and power current gain. That is why we can have the power gain, and VB and VCB, that means the input voltage and output voltage, are 180-degree out of phase. Next, the common collector configuration. Here I have placed a common emitter and common collector configuration side by side for the comparison. This circuit represents the common emitter configuration, where the emitter terminal is connected with a common reference point, a common reference voltage, that is a 0 volt. And in this case, the collector terminal is connected with the same common reference point, the 0 voltage, and the resistance what was connected with the collector terminal in case of common emitter is right now connected with the emitter terminal. And this voltage I was taking from the collector, right now I am taking across the emitter. So this represents the common collector configuration. Now what is then common collector configuration? as I am using the NPN transistor, the purpose of the NPN transistor is that the collector must be at higher potential, because when you are operating in forward active mode, this junction, collector to base junction, must be reverse bias and the emitter base junction must be forward bias. And in order to satisfy that particular condition, the collector must be at higher potential in comparison with the emitter or the base. Now, as I put this common reference point, which is ground or zero potential at the collector, the emitter must be at some lower potential. So that is why I have considered it is to be at minus 12 volt. And in place of taking output from the collector terminal, I am taking output across the emitter terminal. So basically, the major change is that I have just changed the position of this resistance. Because if you check with this circuit, where the positive terminal of the external voltage source is connected with the collector, and the common reference point is connected with the emitter also, still I am taking the output from the emitter. So this is also common collector, because common collector means whatever you are using, common collector, common base, common emitter, you must have to keep this orientation that the collector should be at higher potential than the base, and the emitter base also will be higher potential than the emitter. This configuration must be maintained. But the common collector means, although you are maintaining here also the same configuration I am maintaining, or the same potential configuration I am maintaining in both of these circuit, only difference between common emitter and common collector is that from where you are taking the output. In the last case, I was taking the output from the collector because emitter was common. Now I am taking from the emitter because the collector is common. Similarly, in this circuit also the same thing I am doing, but the emitter terminal I have connected with a common reference point, but that doesn't mean that this is the common emitter. This is basically a common collector. Okay, as I am taking the output across the uh, across this emitter resistance. Now let's check the current gain and voltage gain for the common collector configuration. So this is the current gain, because in case of common collector also, IE is the output voltage and input voltage is the IB. Therefore, and IC is approximately equals to IC. So therefore, we have the current gain. Now let's check about the voltage gain. Output voltage is the VE itself. So what is VE? VE is the output current times the load resistance. So load resistance in this case the R3, and output current is the emitter current. So IE times R3, and which is equals to IC times R3. So that is the output voltage. Similar to the previous analysis, the differential emitter voltage is equals to the differential collector current times the R3, and differential collector current can also be replaced by the transconductance times the input voltage. Now, what is this input voltage VBE? VBE means VB minus VE. So the incremental VBE means incremental VB minus incremental VE. So on the left hand side you have a VE, and the right hand side you also have a VE. So after a little rearrangement, you can show that this delta VE divided by VB is equals to this one. So this emitter right now, look, why it is common collector? Because the emitter is measured with respect to collector. So VEC or VBC if you measure. So since the collector is connected with a common point, that is this a DC point, so you can neglect, because both of them that gets cancelled, because you are considering the incremental one. So incremental one means the DC voltages gets cancelled, only the differential voltage exists over here. So delta VE divided by delta VB represents the output voltage divided by input voltage, and that is this one. So at the numerator GMR3 exists, but at the denominator this factor exists and it is greater than the numerator. Therefore, the voltage gain is less than 1. So in case of common collector, although we have a current gain, we don't have a voltage gain. So current gain is greater than 1, but voltage gain is less than 1. In summary, a common base configuration has only voltage gain, no current gain. Along with that, the input voltage and output voltage are always in phase in case of common base amplifier. That means when input voltage increases, so does the output voltage. On the contrary, the common emitter amplifier or configuration offers both the voltage gain and current gain. As a result, we can achieve the power gain out of the common emitter configuration. But the common emitter configuration, the input voltage in the common emitter configuration differs 180-degree out of phase with respect to its output. That means when input voltage decreases, output voltage increases. In common collector configurations, on the other hand, there exists no voltage gain, only the current gain. So in common base, we can achieve only the voltage gain. In common collector, we can achieve only the voltage gain. And in this case also, the input and output voltage are in phase in common collector also.